brand new episode of Invincible has dropped over at Amazon Prime. Today we're going to be talking about it, breaking it down. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Darren After the Credits, the show where we talk about all the shows that came out during the week. And this week, it's one show. We have one singular thing to talk about after like a month of nonstop TV. Now we're kind of heading towards the end of this early fall era of TV, which is left Invincible. Darth Bunyan, this is kind of like our penultimate episode, I guess, to our like mid-season of season 2 of Invincible. How are we kind of right off the bat? I mean, how are you? How are we kind of feeling about Invincible currently?
Sad that the break's coming up. But happy that it won't be the end, right? Which would be devastating if that was the case. So sad. I'm loving where Invincible is at, and I'm loving that we got it, especially because now, like you said, we're getting everything that's finished. Yeah, I mean, we haven't got no Gen V at the moment. We haven't got Loki. We have all the amazing stuff that they gave us, but now we don't get them every week. So it's just sad.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a break. Like, obviously, we have next week's episode, and then most of next month, there'll really be nothing to talk about on here. So we'll probably go on a bit of a break before What If comes out, and an Echo kind of comes in as well. So yeah, we'll definitely be seeing how it all kind of goes down. But Invincible season 2, episode 3, and again, I can't believe we're back 3 weeks now. This is our third week back. So let's just kind of jump into today's episodes. So we kind of start off our episode here, and again, spoilers. I'm actually going to throw this up. So season 2, episode 3. If you've not seen Invincible this season, if you have not caught up, get out of here. We're talking spoilers. A lot of stuff happened. A crazy episodes. We have some friends who have got these episodes early, and everyone's like, episode 3, y'all, you are not ready for what's happening. You're not ready for what's coming. And it was one heck of an episode. We kind of start off our episodes with Mark going off to college, which caught me really off guard. Last episode, they graduated. This episode, he's going off to college. I said last week I was shocked how fast-paced that they were moving Mark's story along. And this is even more proof. We've already went through the entire summer, almost all off screen. What was your thoughts that they're already off to college and they're already in this new part of their lives?
I too was shocked. But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? Because they kind of without saying too much, because we'll get there, but they need to get to the time of where they are at the end of the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the end of season 1, right? So there's either the initial gap, just straight boom, here we are, or there's it shows you the interim of time. Do you know what I mean? At a really fast pace, which is what we got. So I don't mind it too much because we still get to see some of the stuff that's happened.
Sure.
But like I say, it is quick, but I'm excited that we're here. Do you know what I mean? So some properties would have just drawn that so far out. So we've got it episode 3, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm going to be very curious how long we actually spend in college. I mean, just this episode alone, obviously I don't mean to jump ahead, but we see Mark have to kind of go off and have to abandon college straight away. And I think that furtherly proves in any superhero show or movie, if it's Spider-Man, if it's whatever, it's hard for superheroes to have lives. It's hard for people to have a large job or go to school or have friends and have family, because one point or another you're going to have to leave them. So I'm going to be very curious how that kind of goes down. And that was a good portion of our characters' journey this week. At least Mark, Amber, and William, get to kind of see them adapting to the college life. We also see Debbie. Again, I've been loving Debbie. I think Debbie's been an amazing character this season, and seeing this storyline of grief. And we saw at the end of the last episode, they teased a number that she called, or that she was going to call. And after Mark goes off to college, she gives this a call, and this happens to be. We can kind of jump towards just talking about that story because I know it goes all throughout the episode, but it seems to be like a counseling session for
Oh,
spouses and like loved ones of superheroes, which I think is a really really cool concept that I can't remember if I've ever seen in like another superhero type show.
yeah. So initially, obviously she gets like the SOS card, right, in Morse code, which was really cool. Um, and then yeah, the second it turned in, like it showed that it was a support group for superheroes, I was like, this is gonna go south. This is gonna go so south. The second that she realizes that at least half of the people are gonna be in that group are because of Nolan, she's gonna feel away about it. I saw this coming.
Yeah.
The second she's like, oh, like superheroes, I was like, ah, shit, you know. Um, and I have to say, I'm both surprised and not surprised by the partner's reaction at the end
Hmm.
when the information was disclosed, and he forced that to happen, I might add, right? So technically, he knows he went against support group rules, but
Yeah.
he said it, like it's not a safe space for you, and like he's like very much made that the case. But like I get it, but I don't get it because she was duped as well. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then it does kind of push her. What's very interesting is that when Mark Nolan arrived, excuse me, he is kind of where she is. Like she feels so desperately alone, and she's been pushed. Like, I mean, yeah, she's got Cecil, but like he's Cecil. He's lying to everybody. Do you know what I mean? Mark's living his life, and she doesn't want to burden him too much. So
Hmm.
there's nobody that she can lean on, nobody that
Hmm.
she can like, nobody that understands. Like 20 years of her dream life existence. A man fell out of the sky and was her dream husband, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, no, that guy was going to be Space Hitler. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
what now? Excuse me? Where's this come from? This guy was so nice to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was like,
Hmm.
from what we saw, he was an incredible husband. So this is like the biggest rug pull, And then to see, like I said, like he turned up and he would have been completely alone. So him leaving has caused her to end up how he started, which is so like, you know?
Yeah, Debbie, I think, is in the worst spot out of any character in the show. Like, obviously, Mark is really going through it, and he's dealing with that in his own ways. But he has a girlfriend, he has friends, he has a team, he has a boss, he has a job, he has school, he has so many things. He has too many things to keep his mind off his dad and the grief. Um, her, on the other hand, she had just moved. She, I think that she just moved.
No, she was
Um,
talking about
Oh,
moving.
no? Okay, okay.
Mm. She
But,
was
like, her husband's gone, her son's off to college. All her friends are friends of Nolan's and, like, friends of the superheroes, and now she's going to this meeting, and all the people there want her dead or would want her dead or are talking are they like, all of their problems are literally because of what her husband did. Like, all of
Mhm.
their problems are the source of her grief. I cannot imagine how terrible that must be. And I'm so very curious where you ultimately take Betty. I have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling it's going to get worse for her before it gets better. Like, I think the rest of the 5 episodes of the season is maybe not going to end up a good place for her. I'm very curious. Not saying she's going to like. I don't. I actually don't know where we're going to take Betty. Like, I don't know where and how she
Yeah.
can heal. Like, I don't know what that direction is for her.
The interesting thing is, like, she should not be getting any hate because, if anything, she gave everybody 20 years of extra happiness that they may not have done if Nolan
Yeah.
was not busy making a family. If he just got straight to work, then this would all be a moot point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they should be thanking her for actually letting them live wonderful lives up until this point. Like,
Yeah.
kudos,
No.
good one for the team. Good job. Thank you.
100%. Yeah, no, I mean, clearly, I think like, what he said to her obviously was very messed up, but it was also all said in grief. Like, I bet if you give it, like, a week, a month, he would be able to go back to her and be like, "Hey, what I said, that wasn't right. You're also grieving." Like, I think that was just said in a place of just pure pain. I
Mm.
have been there. I've been in spots where I will say things I didn't mean, or didn't truly know the like gravitas of the like situation. Like he doesn't really know Debbie. He doesn't know exactly what has happened with this whole situation. If she knew at all, like he didn't know anything. So, but no, I thought this whole storyline this week, and again, these last 3 episodes have been incredibly good. I think it keeps the show incredibly grounded, and I think this week especially, like, this felt as big as this episode was in some areas, it also felt very grounded in its character storylines, and like we'll get to like some of the other just kind of like slice of life type storylines in this episode that I thought was a lot of fun. Going back to Mark a little bit, I don't even know how to kind of introduce this part of the episode, but like William kind of explains to Mark what the sock on the door means, and after all of this stuff with him and Amber decide to try some stuff out, which was okay, I guess. I don't know. They did the thing. That's all I have to say.
This was a very sexy episode. This was a very sexy episode.
I thought it was hilarious. Obviously, we'll get to the Alan stuff in a little bit, but I love the scene where like they cut away from Mark and Amber, and then they're like, let's go cover this other storyline, and then they start doing it, and they're like, oh, okay, let's go over back to oh, they're still doing, oh gosh dang it, and then they go to the cat, the space cat. This is so funny. This is so hilarious. I love it. Yeah, no, I thought it was very clever. But let's talk about the Alan show, if you will. We cut to a good 20 minutes of this episode being all about Alan the alien, character that we met last season, voiced by Seth Rogen. I love Seth Rogen, man. I feel like he gets a lot of hate nowadays, but I think he's such a great creator. I think, you know, he produced this show, and he does such a good job with all these kind of shows and stuff. What was your kind of like, did you know, like, we had heard that Alan was in this episode, and like obviously he was a big push in like the marketing of the season. What was your thoughts getting to see Alan again?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Sorry, just Liam says he's trying to hit the link, but it is struggling to load. So I'm just wondering if that's an issue. And then my cat's just stole a seat. Sorry. So yeah, so basically Alan, really, really cool. Loved having him in. I love that we got an origin story for the guy, because obviously everybody was curious, especially for those that hadn't read the comics.
Yeah.
And then, like, as you say, Seth Rogen like really helps make him a charming guy. You know what I mean? Like with his voice and stuff, and his personality shining through. It's just really, really cool. And then like interesting to see like how wide the Viltrumite empire has spread and how much of an issue it is, right? Because all we've got is Nolan's side of it, and we don't really see it impacting the Earth at the moment, obviously, apart from like the final battle. So it's good to see that like how everybody's taking it seriously and things like that, and why it's such an issue, and how it would make sense that it's a multiversal threat. Do you know what I mean? Because like there's a whole federation of planets that are like, these are the biggest threat in the galaxy, and we all have to unite because they are an issue. Do you know what I mean? If you didn't have that and it was just like a couple of planets, then you're like, well, are they that much of a multiversal threat? And then we saw his love interest, of course. And then like, I'm not gonna lie, like we're getting to the bit now. So like I like the idea of a traitor came up, right? When they were talking about Invincible to the planet, the planetary people. And just like, I don't know, there was just something about the way they were together. I thought maybe she was a spy. Obviously, we find out later on who is a spy. Speaking of which, I know that the Invincible's cast is like absolutely chock full of famous people. Haley, I'm glad you finally got in. But we got Peter Cullen this episode, which was phenomenal. The second I heard his voice, I was like, woo, here he is, yes. And then like I was like, oh my god, this might be the first guy this guy has played that I actually hate now. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did that happen? This guy is like my childhood hero through his
How
voice.
dare you use his voice? His
For a
beautiful
villain.
voice.
Shocking. Shocking. Um, also the space fight, right?
Mm,
The fact that they used the um the vacuum of space as a way to kind of like change the music and change the way that the hits were. So it kind of like I don't know, it just added to it in a weird way that it just worked so well. I just love that
hmm
stuff, you know? Um
Yeah,
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 sorry.
yeah. No, I thought, yeah, no, I loved getting Alan again this week. Again, he was one of my favorite characters from last season. I'm very glad we got to see more of him again here. And potentially, do we think, kind of jumping ahead to like what you were saying, like he was in a fight with like a bunch of these Vultramites, and Alan, like clearly it's established that Alan was like the best that they had, and he
Mhm.
still couldn't beat even one of them. And now
Yeah.
here we have like a whole horde of them. It's like, well, yeah, he's not making it out of here, I don't think. I mean, if Mark couldn't even take on his father, Alan was not making it out of this situation. Um, we find him in like a test tube, and like in it. I mean, I don't even want to jump ahead here. I want to say the fight scene's incredible. Like
Mhm.
it's insane. I think I mean, the like brutal fight scenes in the show never seem to shock me. Like we keep getting in season one again and again and again, and this was the first one of the season, I think, that was purely just so brutal. And it's like, oh yeah, this show is insane. This show does
Mhm.
not hold back. I mean, they're chopping off his arms, they're punching through his stomach. Like,
All with just judo chops.
yeah, no, Alan was Dunzo's. And they somehow kind of saved him, and they put him in this like tube.
Mhm.
And then ultimately he turns it off. So do we think Alan is dead? Do we think we're done with
I
Alan?
do now. Yeah, I didn't because like he was genuinely going to make a recovery, and
Mm.
then Thaddeus stepped in, right? And then I literally wrote down, Alan, no. I was like, no, how are they killing Alan? Poor Alan. Like, oh my god,
He
like
was
that
so
guy would
nice.
have been such a great teammate. I hope to God that we are not like completely bereft of Alan and robbed of him because we have a multiverse coming.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
So fingers crossed, Alan is still to come.
Hmm.
Hold out hope for more Alan. I am
Use Corona tube so they can just make
not the same.
Oh, okay.
Not the same.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I definitely, I'm curious to find out when Mark, because Mark is going to find out about Alan. I think Mark is going to find out what happened to him, and I think that's going to further his storyline. I'm very curious what direction he goes, if it's going to be full on guilt or if it's going to be full on anger, because he's kind of on the brisk of both. Maybe both. Like he finds out about this because he's been kind of balancing that. I want to be a hero, I want to be good, but also I do think there's that father in him a little bit that he could spark when he finds out his good friend Alan is dead. So I'm looking forward to that, but also I'm not, because rest in
Yeah.
peace, Alan. I do agree with you though. It is a multiverse type season. I would not be shocked in the least if we see an Alan. But that doesn't mean he's going to be good. Maybe this one will be bad.
Oh.
Maybe
Oh.
we'll see. That would break my heart actually, because Alan
Yeah.
is such a pure human being.
Yeah.
I mean, not human being, but he's just a pure being. And that would hurt my
So
soul.
this is the thing, right? So I forget from season one because like I did a rewatch, but it was a while ago now. Um, like the requirements to get into the planetary union. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But I would say at the moment there's nothing stopping Earth since the Viltrumites guys left. You know what I mean? And then like what
Mhm.
that could do is like Alan dying or supposedly dying could pave the way for Invincible to step in as their champion still.
Ooh, sure, sure, sure. And yeah, I mean that could very much be what we're leading to, because I did find it was very interesting. Alan kind of going into like the council and being like, this kid might be our first chance against this war that we've been fighting. This might be the first crack. Obviously, like we've never seen a vulture might leave their post, and now one has left their post. What does that mean? How are we going to see the cracks in like the wall? And I assume we're maybe going to get back to that a little bit next week. Not saying why yet, because we haven't got there, but it feels like we might get a little bit of more of a follow-up to the end of the season, which I think what a lot of people have been waiting for.
Quick point. So like obviously Thetis, as we've discussed, is a douche, right? But do we think like he's one of those people that's like working for the bad guy? Like, do you remember? Okay, prime example, Loki Infinity War speech before taking a stab at Thanos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that speech, that whole meeting with Alan and the other guys, right? Because if like being in the position he was in, he could have easily dismissed it with the other guys and just called Invincible dangerous and just ripped Earth off, right?
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He sat there and agreed with Alan and started like saying they don't
Sure.
well no, it was what's her name? Not Thetis, it was Telia that said about them mixing with other species. So like that needs to be looked at. But then he was also fathers disagreeing with son, that doesn't happen. The post thing that you mentioned, that doesn't happen. So like he's not instantly like just throwing it away. He is saying like there are things we can do, but he's also working against everything. So I don't know like what his machinations are, could possibly be at this point. Like whose side is he on?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, it could just very well be a thing where like he's threatening his family or something, right? He's threatening the people, or like they, I guess, are threatening. Hey, if you don't do this, we're gonna kill you and your family and your dog or something. I don't know. It's like, all right, I'll tell you what's happening here, and then you spare me and my family or something. That could very much be a thing, or he could just be like a two-dimensional character and he's working for them because he's evil. I don't know. Like it could go either way.
But he's very bad at it if he is just evil, because obviously he is helping the plan, and in fact sat there fanning the flames for the plan to bring them down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's very bad at his job.
Honestly, he's very bad to begin with, because he told him that there was that there was a traitor among us. He didn't have to do that. He wouldn't have expected anything at all. He would have just been like, cool, we're all good. Like I don't know if there's a reason for that, if we're gonna come back to that. But I feel like he didn't need to say there was a traitor at all. No. That was kind of funny. Yeah, but as we kind of move out of the Alan stuff, and again, they like, I don't know about you, they started to roll the credits. I was like, wait, no, there's no way this is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It's been like 15
I was very
minutes.
Confused. Very confused.
I was so scared. I was like, no. Yeah, the longest post-credit scene I've ever seen. Yeah, no, we jump back into the Rex and Kate stuff. Man, I hate Rex. Rex is the stupidest character on this dang show.
Okay. Yes and no, right? Okay, yes and no, because he is the only guy that is looking at that Martian man and going, where are you from? Just tell us where you are from. I can't handle this no more. Do you know what I mean? None of us can handle it. Just get it out there, guy. Do you know what I mean? There was a Martian there before. Everybody's going to accept you for who you are. Stop hiding in the shadows.
Running on the treadmill backwards. It's so dumb. I love it though. Oh my gosh. That voice actor, he's so good. He's good in everything. He's Sonic, he's DuckTales, he's Ninja Turtles. Like he's in so much great stuff. I can't remember his name at the top of my head, but he's so good. Yeah, let's talk about the Rex versus Kate stuff for a bit. Obviously Rex is stupid. He's saying like how dare you cheat on me, and she's like, well, you cheated on me first, and he's like, well, that's different. That was then, not now. It's like, no, you cheated, you dummy. What are you talking about? He's such a douche. He's such a weird guy. But I ultimately like this scene, and it's something I didn't even think of last week. Was one of the reasons why she is kind of with him is because he's the only one that has died as much as she has. And I was like, oh, that's a really interesting plot line.
So interesting.
Yeah, no, and that was like a really great scene, and it feels like I'm curious to explore that more, because we're definitely focusing a lot more on Kate this season than we did last season. Kate was very much like a side piece last season, not side piece, a side character. What were your thoughts on the whole?
It was both. Really.
No.
Let's be real. But I, like you, I thought that was a fascinating take, honestly, because like as the previous episode showed, like they are very, very much connected. It is not just, oh, I've made a copy and whatever. They are connected on a lot of levels. So literally every time one of those duplicates gets killed in battle, and it is
Yeah.
a lot, especially last season with that whole invasion thing. It got to the point
She
where
died a lot.
he
Yeah.
was being attacked and she kept having to create like duplicates, like as she was going backwards, like here you go, here you go, here you go, I
Yeah.
need to get out of here. So like it was scary for a moment, because like this show does not shy away from killing its heroes. So
Mhm.
I thought last season she was gone. So like, oh yeah, so it was absolutely really, really interesting, and especially how
Mhm.
she adds up the lives, like the
Yeah,
time.
I don't think that's how that works exactly. Like, it's not like, yeah, like it's not like you could grow up to 80 and then like reduplicate yourself to being young again. I don't think that's how that works. It seems like you're all just the same age, but you could duplicate yourself many times. I thought that was a weird, like, kind of like, yeah, that's a good point, but I'm not gonna let you win this one, so that's what I'm gonna throw at you.
Mhm.
But no, I thought, like, again, very like, this was a very slice of life episode. Like, it was a lot of just like character relationship stuff. If it's the, of course, like the Debbie stuff, the Alan stuff, the Rex and Kate stuff, the Amber stuff, and also the Robot Man and Monster Girl stuff this week, which again was very slice of life. Robot Man kind of takes out the part of his brain that is making him fear things.
No, he was just going to try and meditate through it. He weren't going to do surgery.
Oh, okay. I thought that he did take it. No?
No.
Okay.
Because he was basically looking to control his fear, and then Monster Girl was basically like, dude, like fear is like a human response that is
Okay.
peaceful. And then he was like, okay, well, let's get out of here and go for a burger then.
Okay. So I misunderstood that scene. Well, that's fine. I assume it's still going to happen, though. I assume that we're going to go back to that later in the season or something. But we
I don't. I think
you
like
don't?
no, because I think he's going to lean more into Monster Girl.
Hmm.
Because
What if she
like
dies?
his guide, I do worry about that as well because of how much he keeps changing. Like unless he's got like the dude's super smart. Like how has none of his energy gone into finding a cure for the Cass?
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Like, I could see that happening in a world like towards the end of the season, Monster Girl like she gets killed, and then he blames her because he didn't take away his fear,
mhm.
um, and then he goes after her because that not having fear is so dangerous. Like
Yeah,
that is like fear is such an important part of life. Like I feel like he could become a villain if he takes away his fear. And I feel like he's balanced that line last season, especially if he's a hero or a villain. Like last season, he really stepped on the line where he was almost a villain. I felt like, so we'll see. We'll see what like a man without fear is. And I would personally be shocked if we don't go back to it in one way, shape, or form. Just because we set it up. Like I have a hard time believing they would just leave it there, but we'll see. I
I
thought the
don't.
date. Sorry, go
They
ahead.
might, if you're right, they might not leave it there. They might kind of just do more training. Do you know what I mean? To kind of like because it's that was his first big fight, I think. Do you know what I mean? The rest has been training with the guys, so
Mhm.
there's nothing to really be afraid of because you know, like no real harm is going to come to you. But I think that was his first life or death situation. So I think, obviously, like when you're in that situation, you're still going to have fear and adrenaline. But like you manage it after a while. Do you know what I mean, you know how to
Sure.
manage it better. So I think they're just going to go that route.
Mhm.
Because like his whole thing was not to be a robot, was to be more human again, like
Yeah.
and be a real person. So I don't think he's gonna try and take away the stuff that's like because
Making him human.
he's got his goal. To take anything away would be to rob himself.
Sure. Yeah, no, I thought the date stuff was weird. I mean, not weird. I thought it was cute. I feel like there's definitely a conversation to be had if it's weird. Like, there's definitely some age stuff there, but Monster Girl's she just can't age, right? So she's not an actual girl.
Well,
So
she gets younger every time she changes, doesn't she?
yeah.
So she was like a fully grown. She would be a fully grown woman by this point.
Yeah, so I don't think it's weird. I think because neither of them are actually children. They just both look like children.
Hmm.
So that shouldn't be a problem. I thought it was very cute. I thought like going to their first movie and Robot Man having his first like French fries and burger, I thought was so wholesome and cute. Again, too wholesome and cute. I'm afraid what's going to happen. I'm afraid something bad's going to happen to at least one of them. Um, we kind of go back to our crew, our with Mark and William. William finds out about the Amber stuff and what's going on there. That they did it, and William talks about how he's kind of still grieving over Rick from last season. This season's been doing, I think, an incredibly great job at kind of like recapping in very natural ways of things that happened last season. Like it feels like by this point, almost every kind of episode has at least been brought up or mentioned in ways that doesn't just feel like, oh yeah, we're recapping season one, but in a way that feels like, hey, yeah, this is stuff that happened to us. This is something that's very traumatic. Like William talks about how he dreamed of going to college with Rick, and this was going to be their happy ever after type thing.
I know, poor Rick.
I'm very curious where we're taking William this season because again, I love William. I think I think he's an incredibly fun addition to the show. I think William and Amber keep the show very grounded, and like Debbie, I guess, right? These kind of non-powered characters in Mark's life that keep him where he has these people in his life that he can kind of go to. Do you think we're gonna see Rick again? Because they said he's gonna get out in like a month, I think.
I know,
So
right? I hope so. Good chance of it. I was gonna say about the time jumps, but with this episode, obviously, like, there's no way they're gonna time jump. We're getting right back to where we were finished off. I like what you're saying about the wholesome thing. I would say that I do hope nothing happens to them because just because they get in these moments. Because like with how close Mark and Amber and William are to Mark and everything else, like the Guardians are a way to kind of keep us in the story, but give us moments that are like different to the episode. Do you know what I mean? So then when like Mark's going for a more grounded thing and it's all Amber and William stuff, for example, then we can get more action with the Guardians. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then like vice versa. So we've had like a nice wholesome episode. Well, to be fair, there wasn't really much action like this episode. Well, Alan had it all. You know.
yeah.
But sorry, quickly. Did you see the poster in the college bedroom?
Which one?
Magnum. But instead of Magnum PI, it was Magnum and the symbol for pi.
That's funny.
It was. I was just like, oh my god, that's so cheesy, and I love it. I gotta say that I found it really interesting that Thaddeus called Alan an asset. Do you know what I mean? Like it makes sense as a compliment, but it's very interesting given the implications of his final actions in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that is truly how he sees him, then
Sure.
like it just takes all of the guilt out of it because he doesn't see him as a person, you know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea where we're taking this Alan stuff. Like, I hope, again, I don't mean to go backwards, but I do hope we get, I don't know. I'm so sad that Alan's dead. I hate it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Quick question.
Hmm.
Who on God's green earth, well, it wouldn't be in green earth because it was in space, but who the hell was that narrator?
Wasn't it the like alien guy at the end? Wasn't he the one that was like narrating it, or no? Because it sounded like the same voice actor.
Wait, what? Like, is this like a documentary for people in
Yeah, I don't
space?
know.
Like,
Like it
what the hell
definitely
did he
felt like
watch
What
today?
If, where it's like as someone's watching all the different stuff. Like that stuff to me felt directly taken out of like a What If episode, where it's like, all right, I'm watching over here, and they're doing, oh, they're having sex now. Now I'm gonna go over here. Oh, they're also having sex. I'm gonna go over here.
It just felt so confusing. Do you
Yeah,
know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know.
Like, is there another part of the universe where this is a reality show? Do you know what I mean? Like, what
Sure.
is happening? Like, there was zero context for that.
Yeah.
Funny. Don't get me wrong. Like, give me David Attenborough vibes, especially when it went to the cat. You know. But I was so confused. I was like, who is this person? You know. Who
Sorry,
do
go
you
ahead.
think went and got Mark? Do you think it was just an envoy, or do you think it was actually like a sibling?
Yeah, that's my oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's kind of my final notes of kind of the episode. We see the alien, we see this alien, this like bug species alien. Well, first he can like shapeshift, which he shapeshifted as the like super dog creature that's in his comic books, which was this ongoing thing throughout the episode. A comic book Mark really liked, had on his wall. Must say, might be one of the stupid, like the like stupidest comic book characters I've ever seen.
Oh, I was
But
so
we have,
hoping that he was real. I'm sorry. I'm in that camp. I was sitting there. I was like, please do not be anything else but be real. I was so hoping Seance Dog was a
yeah,
real thing. That would have been amazing, especially with the multiverse thing being real. Uh,
yeah.
I would have been
I
like,
had a feeling like this feels very weird. I say it's stupid, but like then we have characters like Rocket Raccoon, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not so stupid. Maybe it's like we have Cosmo and we have Crypto and stuff. So maybe it's not that weird. Yeah, but he comes to Earth and says, "Hey, Mark, our planet has asteroids. You need to save us. What like 13 billion people are gonna die or something."
42 billion. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not like, and at first he wasn't gonna go until William says, "Hey, you gotta go, man. I will cover for you. Just go." Um, we have a bit of a back and forth between Cecil and Mark, because now Mark really wants to go, and Cecil's like, "No, don't go. This is dumb." Cecil, man, I think is forever going to be my favorite, like my least favorite character on the show, because I love him, but also he's going to every other episode I'm gonna be like, come on, Cecil, just let him do him. He's gonna get on my nerves, I think. What was your opinion on the Amber talk with Mark, with like Mark and Amber? Because the internet right now is kind of exploding over that scene, which
I
might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I loved it. I loved the Smallville talk before they got down to it. Like, are you gonna hurt me? Are you gonna be in control? Like da 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 da.
Yes, that was very
smart. And then you got the conversation at the end. I'm not gonna lie. When she was like, "Don't call me baby," I was like, "That is." I feel like she's already triggering people. I feel like that's also going to trigger people. But if she wants a different pet name, then by all means, let her have a different pet name. You know.
Yeah, no, I think I think that's just about preference. Like, there's a lot of people who don't want to be called like baby or something. I've been seeing people say that that's like a huge like red flag. I don't think so personally. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And people are freaking out over the scene at the end where she's like, "You should never apologize for saving people." People are mad over the scene.
What?
I guess
Why?
because it goes against what happened last season, and I'm like, that's called character growth, people. She thought one thing last season, she was wrong, and now she knows better. That blows my mind. There's a post on Twitter currently, and it's blowing up. Everyone's making fun of this person who's saying so, but like, how are you being mad that she's doing the opposite thing that you were mad at her for doing last season? That
Mhm.
is insane to me. That is,
Yeah.
what do you like? Amber has entered a like category of character like Captain Marvel and like all these kind of characters that these certain
Mm.
channels hate, where it's like no matter what she could possibly do, you are going to hate her. She's
Yeah.
in that category for people. She
Yeah.
is a black woman, and there's going to be certain people who are not going to like that. And because of this scene that happened last season, they are going to carry that flame. Like that's their excuse for hating her from now until forever.
Even when she course corrects and matures.
Yeah, no, she's been so good this season. I'm loving what they're doing with her this
But
season. I
this
think
is the
she's been
thing
very
is
good.
with season one, sorry, as well. With
Yeah,
season one, like I didn't think, oh, that's like a dick move to even say that
yeah,
because
same.
like you know he's a superhero and you're like, yes, I want a relationship with a superhero, but I want a relationship with a superhero. Look at Red Brush. Look at his relationship. That was not a healthy relationship.
Yeah,
Like the guy suffered because of his powers for sure, but like he was not fully there for the relationship. And that's all she wants. She wants communication and for some like for him to keep his promises. She understands emergencies,
sure.
right? For sure. But like don't take her for a fool. That was her whole thing. He has been open
Yeah,
and honest and communicative the whole time. Anytime he can't make it, he calls her and lets her know. Do you know what I mean?
sure.
And so she's had all of her issues addressed. And now she's like, do not apologize. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah,
Go and say some people. I'll see you soon. What the
100%.
hell is the issue?
Yeah, no, people. I'd like this. I don't like calling people dumb a lot, but like that's so dumb.
Hmm.
It's so freaking dumb. And yeah, we have kind of the ending to our episode, and as we kind of end, like towards the end of the stream here, he goes to Mark comes to this planet. He's like, this place, which may I say, I want to visit this planet. This planet looks gorgeous. I want to vacate here. And he walks around. Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy to see him. And he's like, what happened to the meteorites? What exactly do you want me to save? And he's like, what meteorites? And it's like, oh shit, what did you
I
do?
know, right? So, okay, so this is the thing. So once he turned to not be Seance Dog, and I was like, I
Yeah,
really want that. And then we saw the bug, and he was like, come and save us some meteors. I was like, okay, this is 50-50 how this is going to turn out.
yeah,
Either, yes, there are meteors, and like, this is a good way for the Federation of Planets to see Mark in action. Do you know what I mean? And see that he's a hero that will go out of his way to help others
uh-huh.
like Alan was saying, or it's going to be what happens, and it's going to be dun dun dun, daddy's at the end. Do you
Oh
know?
man.
So yeah, oh my god, hella of a reveal. And then the second the guy was like, "Oh, meteors? There's no meteors. I'm just senile." I was like, "Oh, I know where this is going." And so early as well. Like episode 3, at the end of episode 3,
Episode 3, yeah, I thought we'd wait till like the end of the season. I hate Omni-Man so much, and I'm so excited to see him again. I love him
Oh my
so
god,
much.
it's so hard to hate him. Like I know
Yeah.
obviously you hate him, but it's so hard to hate him. Especially like I know it's so stupid to say, but like that dude's got cakes for days. Like the way they animated him, he's just got the biggest, thickest butt. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, J.K. Simmons is such a charm, and whatever he's in, I love him as his character. I'm excited to see him back. I'm excited to see what comes of this final episode. Poor Debbie, he sends him off to college for one day, and he's already meeting up with his murderous father. Oh, poor thing, poor thing. I'm super excited to see how it all goes down. I'm curious if we're going to spend the whole episode on this planet with Mark, or if we're going to kind of flash back to the Debbie stuff and the Guardians stuff, see what all happens next week. And again, next episode is our last episode before this big break. I think it's off for like a month, and it comes back in January, I think. So we'll see how it all kind of ends off. Do we think any like final predictions for next week's episode? Any like thing that you think is
Um,
going to leave us off on this cliffhanger?
Not really, because I don't know too much about the comics, but
Yeah.
just for like what you said, I can't remember an episode apart from obviously the Atom Eve special where like it was so singular on a story, like there were still other people all involved. So I think it still will do like jumps. I don't think we'll spend the whole episode on that planet. If nothing else, we'll get multiversal stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I
Because
feel like we have
yeah,
to
sorry.
start getting into that quickly. Like we have 5 episodes left.
Hmm.
Which I mean, like for the show, it's still it's like over half the season. But when you think about it, it's only 5 episodes. It's 5 hours left to kind of get into because this season has been a lot of what feels to me like building up to a larger story. Like especially these last 2, like episode 1 built on a lot of stuff. And we haven't really got back to like the multiverse angstrom, right? The angstrom stuff. So I'm curious when he's gonna come back into play.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is the thing I didn't like is that they said that the majority of Marks flipped with Nolan, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of Nolans on this planet going through what he's going through now. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And in other universes, he would have picked other planets to go and inhabit. But this step family is a rare instance and could be very interesting to the larger story.
Sure.
Because as well, like they said that Viltrumites don't breed with other species. So it's interesting that he's lost his family and then instantly tries to replace them with another one as a crutch to instead of just going, I was wrong, I'm sorry, you know? I mean, how do you apologize for the deaths of millions? But you know.
Yeah, I'm curious what he's doing on this planet if those are his children.
Mm-hmm.
If how crazy would that be if he has a whole planet of just children, of new children? Like it's been 20 years over in this planet or something. Like I don't know how that would work, but
right. So
that'd be
that's
crazy.
Super fascinating, right? So because like he has a super slowed lifespan, right? And then he came to the humans who already had a sped up lifespan compared to him. And then he goes to these people who are like mayflies compared to us. Do you know what I mean? So then there's like an even bigger gap in how they live their lives. So the combination of their offspring is going to be very interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I'm super excited to see how we like wrap up the like mid-season stuff next week. But guys, we're gonna be wrapping up the stream here. I want to thank you, Darth Bunyan, for hopping on and chatting with us for a little bit. We actually did a stream over on your channel a couple of days ago talking about the What If stuff, the Matt and Webb stuff, a little bit of the Pedro Pascal stuff, I think. All that kind of fun stuff. So I'll link that down below if you guys want to check out us, me, Darth, and Flash Freak kind of talking about all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, without further ado, guys, I will see y'all on the flip side. Bye-bye.